Morning, everybody. Let's see. I'm going to check our sound and see if we're okay there. Give me just a second. Let's see. I got to find me on here. I don't see me yet. Hang in there with me. Okay, yes. Okay. Sound is good. Let's see. Video is good. Okay, I think we're good to go. How's everybody doing today? I'm hooked on something here. Hang in there with me. I have got a lot of things to go over today, and hopefully some ways to encourage you as well. It's been a very exciting week. I'm thinking of one particular thing that happened this week, and so I'm going to talk about that because, you know, it's so exciting. You feel the Father's hand. You see the Father's hand. You know the Father's leading. But every now and then, He pulls back the curtain even further and lets you see that He's doing the exact same thing all around the world. And with many different diverse groups. And it's really exciting. So I got to see some of that this morning. Morning, Brother Scott. Morning, Stephanie. Morning, Rick. Brenda, good to see all y'all. Wow, y'all came in quick. So I want to start. You know, I hope to always be early. Early is on time is late. So show me grace if I'm ever late, because you know I really can't help it then. This genealogy chart that I did I think I talked to you about it last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. And I said I was going to try to get it up and I was going to do a video about it. Didn't happen. So the link to it is in the description of this video. If you're watching on YouTube later, look below the video and you'll find the link. This is just a genealogy chart from Adam to the 12 tribes. And I think it'll help you kind of keep it straight, you know, because we covered a lot of information very rapidly there. And it'll help you just kind of wrap your head around it a little better. That's the sole intent of that. So with regards to doing a video, I had hoped to do a video about it, but my husband and I are sharing this space right now. And his is the only job that makes an income. So we have to give way to him and his job. And so I'm not able to film unless I do it very early in the morning or very late in the evening. And y'all know I get up pretty early and I'm useless after 5, 6 o'clock. So he usually works from about 6 till 6 or 7. And that's the biggest block of time that I'm awake. So he took pity on me this morning and let me do this chat about an hour later. We are hoping this weekend, we've got a plan. We're going to gut a room that we're using for something else, and we're going to paint and do some other things to it and try to set me up a space where I can just film anytime I want. And then I can do a little more of these. Be a little more helpful to you, I hope. So hopefully that will happen. We have to paint the room though, because it was my son's bedroom at one point. And my son's dream as a child was to have a bedroom that was painted red. And I kept telling him, Brady, we ain't gonna paint no bedroom red. It's gonna look like you done slaughtered animals in here. And he wanted that so bad. So when we moved to this house, I let him paint his room red. And now we've got to get rid of the red. Good to see all of y'all here. Okay, so the link to this, and you can print your own copy, is in the description of the video. Also, the link to my shirt shop. Last time we did a live, somebody suggested I do a design that said Grace began in Genesis. I've got 2 designs now because I couldn't decide which one I like the most. This is one of them. And then there's a scripted one too. It's got Grace and script that I really like. I've done about 8 different t-shirt designs this week. And I've added 7 of them to the shop so far. So if y'all want to go check that out, and it's very important, if possible, my shirts are sold through Amazon, and Amazon prints them and everything. But go to the shirt shop on the website to get there, because every time I post a new design, it's immediately copied and other people put it up and everything. So it's easier. You make sure that that you're actually buying mine. Just go through the website for that. I mark my shirts up $2. And the $2 goes to help towards site costs. I make sure we always run in a deficit every month. We don't profit off this in any way. There's nothing wrong with profiting off of it, but this is what we do, and this is how the Father has directed us to put our resources to. So, but that $2 a shirt does go towards site costs, and it helps a little with that. I've also got a big event coming up in the fall. This will be our 2nd year hosting it, and I will tell the new folks, I'll tell you all about it as we get a little closer to it. So we have actually a week-long camping trip. We did it last year with a bunch of members of this Bible study. Last year we had, I think, about 150, maybe a little more people there. It was a lot. And this year we're planning on at least 200, maybe more than that. And it's just a wonderful time. And I will be posting info about that later on as we read our way to it. I try to introduce these. I let the Father speak first. I don't want to be the one to tell you about these things when the Father is about to tell you about these things. I don't like to interrupt him. So once the Father starts explaining this a little more in depth to you, then I will chime in. But I like to give, that privilege is his word, his truth. He has the privilege of speaking to those, especially when people are here actively seeking him. So today, a lot of things I want to talk about. First of all, a little more housekeeping. I want to thank all of you so much. We have formed and fallen into a community faster than any other reading group ever has. And a lot of that is, y'all have immediately come in and realized that while every person is important, we are a community of we. And I see everyone looking out for the community of we and loving their brother and loving their neighbor and thinking more of others than themselves in the group. I see a lot of love and compassion, and everybody is pretty much like adhering to the rules. And when somebody doesn't realize they've broken a rule, we've had really nice interactions over it. It's been fine. It's been great. So I really appreciate that. It's really nice when we come together in a group and realize that we can actually talk about things other than what divides us on Facebook. It takes a while. Sometimes when we're used to swimming in the Facebook pond and we come into this pond, it takes a while to realize that we don't have to discuss politics, that it's okay if we don't. And I love that everybody has just immediately kind of realized that this community is a place of respite from the world. And so now you've all come into it, and you've also started contributing to it and making it even more so for all of us. Just so you know, we do want to be extra sensitive to the fact we want to realize that we are a very diverse community. We have people from all walks of the faith. We have people who are not of the faith, but who are here seeking to read the Word and know the Word. I think pretty much every denomination I can imagine is represented in this group. And so from time to time, some of us may just kind of a stream of conscious comment and say something that appears or comes across as disparaging to a certain denomination, or especially if you mention a denomination by name. When I see those comments, I assume the best of all of us. And so if I see a comment that I think would be hurtful to someone of a certain denomination because it's mentioning that denomination in a disparaging way, I know that you didn't mean to be hurtful. And so that's my assumption. I always think the best of you. And so I'm going to help you by removing that comment. And then if you see your comment gone, think about it. And maybe you can rephrase it and post it a different way. It is how lovely it is when brothers dwell together in unity. And that's what we're going to do. So I also want you to know that I get tagged a lot. And Facebook will only show you a certain number of tags on Facebook. And so a lot of times if you tag me, I'm probably not going to see it. So please show me grace there and don't think that I'm ignoring you. I do spend hours and hours every day in the Facebook group answering questions, trying to deal with emails and things like that. And I'm also trying to find more balance in my life. And I'm not doing really well with the balance part. So just know that if you have a question, the admin team, members of the group, there are so many people here who are able to help you and who want to help you. But you need to also know that none of us have all the answers. And there's a lot of questions we have that there may not be answers to. And there's a lot of resources in the world. There's a lot of ministries who will be happy to come up with an answer and give it to you as if it is fact. We need to learn to be comfortable with questions. And we need to learn to focus on what the Father, write your questions down and things, but pay attention to what the Father's trying to teach you right now. He will answer your questions in His timing, according to His will. Right now, be careful that your questions don't lead you away from what the Father is teaching you right now. Because we could literally, like the Father is revealing His character, His personality, and His will for us. And then we're like, I wonder what those curtains look like in the tabernacle. And we go off and spend 2 days researching what people think the curtains might look off in the tabernacle. Next thing you know, we've missed the forest for the trees. So just be careful of that. I've got a little something I want to talk about that earlier as well. But just know that there's so many people who can help answer your questions, just kind of discuss it, talk it out with you, talk about possibilities. We need to realize that everything isn't, His word is truth. All else is commentary, including my notes. And you should not just be taking my notes as authority. You need to be testing everything. These are one person's notes, okay? I wrote all these notes. There's a couple of days where, like, Debbie Engel and Wayne Scott, and I'll tell you, oh, hey, these notes are written by this person. But pretty much the 365, they're all written by me. You are responsible for testing everything. And everything that's in the Word, His Word is truth, all else is commentary. So if He states it, you can hold tightly to that. You can trust in it. If someone else states it, you need to hold that loosely. All of our speculations, our thoughts, it's fun to think about these things. It's fun to think them through and imagine different possibilities. I enjoy doing that. It helps us immerse ourselves in the Word, and it helps us kind of digest it a little more. But hold those things loosely and realize that, He will give us the answers He wants us to have in His time according to His will. And someday we'll be able to know a whole lot more than we're able to know in this lifetime. Also, I do get a lot of emails, and generally my emails, when someone sends me an email, it is not a light email. It is some deep question, and I can't just give people my opinion because that's senseless. And so I have to spend sometimes an hour or more researching, pulling up scripture, thinking it through and all that stuff. And so I'm trying to cut back on that some too, because, it takes up a lot of time. Some days I'll spend all day just working on emails. And so make sure, just post in the group, utilize the community, and then also contribute to the community. But realize that if the Father doesn't state something clearly, we need to treat it as opinion of man, okay? And so even your own opinions, let's not try to pass them off as fact. Let's just say, hey, here's what I think, Oh, let me turn this off. So I want to talk to you about what happened this week. I'm going to be a little vague to protect privacy, but I want to talk to you about what happened this week because it was so exciting. I had a Zoom call with an organization that is run by, set up by, and targeted to our beloved Jewish brethren. And we're going to learn so much about our precious Jewish brethren this year. We're going to learn so much that what we've been taught is not biblical, and we're going to learn a lot. Trust me. But I had this call, and I don't know how much y'all know about this, but our Jewish brethren are not seeking converts. They're not trying to get us to convert. And once we know the Bible, anybody who knows God's word knows that we shouldn't be trying to get them to convert either. We worship the same God, okay? So you don't have to give up being a Jew in order to follow and believe in Messiah. Just like we don't have to give up being a Christian in order to follow and believe in our Messiah, who was Jewish. It's about the family tree coming together, okay? So, and both of us are missing a piece. You'll learn to see this year. Each side is really missing a piece that the other has. So, this is really about both of us seeking the fullness of our faith. Both of us seeking the fullness. We're going to go into that in great depth, so we're not going to talk about it here. In order to know the full picture, you're going to hang in the whole year, okay? Give the Father a year. He's still speaking. But I had this phone call with them, and they are an amazing organization that has a lot of brilliant teachings on the history, the context, and just really dissecting the Older Testament scriptures. And, they have been faithful to these scriptures, whereas we have dismissed them for hundreds of years. And so, in many cases, millions of our Jewish brethren have died protecting the Older Testament. Anyway, I had this phone call, and they asked to speak with me, and I had no idea what I was going into with this. It was the most interesting phone call. I found that the Father is leading us in the exact same way. Even the phrases that they used were almost mirror identical to the phrases that I use all the time. And their heart is in, they've realized that they have a lot of Christians who are using their resources to study the Older Testament. And so they are seeking a way to make these resources more available, more accessible, and more easily understood by Christians. They're seeking a way to serve the Christian community with their resources. This is a no strings attached thing, because they're not seeking to turn anybody, they're not seeking for the Christians to convert to Judaism. It's not the case. They just realize that, hey, you know, these books are very important to us. This is the foundation of our entire faith. And here's these people trying to study them as well. And we have something unique to offer. And so we want to make it more accessible to them also. And so we had a talk about that. They're building bridges. And I said, you know, I'm a bridge builder. That's what our community is. We're bridge builders, because we see people who want to know the Father and they want to grow closer to Him. And so we seek to create a platform and to make it more accessible and to help them to do that. And then we want to encourage them along the way. And that's very much what this organization has been doing for our Jewish brethren, and now they're wanting to do it for our Christian brethren as well. And it's just so exciting to see that. You know, we're not compromising in any way. They're not compromising in any way. We're not compromising in any way. We are seeking to bring the word, bring people to the Father. And in doing so, we know what's going to happen. What happens when you read your way through the Word? You read your way to Messiah. And you understand the big picture so much more. So that was just something really exciting. I want to encourage you, though, when you build a bridge, to build a good, strong bridge, it takes time. And you don't want to shortcut it. You do not shortcut a bridge. They're building a bridge near my house, and I'm not real happy with it, because on a personal, I'm a little nervous about it, because I have to drive over this bridge a lot, and half of it is done and half of it is not done. And so I'm driving on this one side of this bridge. On the other side, there's like, I don't know, there's a framework, and there's all this big machinery and stuff, and they're actively working on it. And I want them to use that's my mother, sorry. My phone is a Shofar. Let me tell Mama I'm doing a live. Just a second. I want them to use the best quality materials that they can. Let me make sure I'm still good here. And I want them to take their time, because I want that bridge to be as solid as possible. Let me shut this down. So that's what we want to do as well. No shortcuts. We're going to talk about shortcuts today a lot. I want y'all to understand. You've already noticed a lot of things in the Word are not quite what you had been taught they were. Okay, so this is my shirt for the day. Be peculiar. It's fixing to get peculiar up in here, y'all. A lot of y'all have already seen this. I've been hearing about it. I've got emails and stuff. And I'm just going to tell you the answer that I give a lot of people. And you can infer the question. You can figure out the question from that. We serve a God who will never fit in any box we seek to put him in. Anytime we put him in a box in order to try to understand him, we're actually putting limits on him, because we're trying to wrap our human minds around his majesty. It's not possible. And so our God will always exceed any limitations we put on him, any expectations we put on him. He will always be above and beyond anything that we can comprehend. Any box we try to put him in, he will burst out of. When you serve a God like that, you're not going to fit into a box either. You can look for a label that kind of explains everything, but that's really taken away a lot of possibilities, because as we continue to grow in our faith, the Father's going to reveal more and more of himself to us, and as we mature, our understanding will deepen. And some of the limitations and things we've put on him, we'll realize that maybe we didn't even realize we had done that, and we'll have to let them go. And I really struggled when I started reading the whole Bible, trying to figure out, well, if I believe that everything he says is true, and I want to follow him, and I want to walk in the example and the footsteps of our Messiah, what am I? Because our society likes to label everybody and put them in a box. So, and what we're doing, when we label somebody, we're saying, okay, you fit in this category, and then we can put them aside, because we say we figured them all out and we understand they're this category. It doesn't work anymore. And so people will say, well, what are you? Well, you know, I have been to, most of my life I went to Baptist churches, been to some Methodist churches, Presbyterian. I've got friends who are every denomination under the sun, and they're all wholehearted, God-fearing, Jesus-loving people. I don't have a title that I fit under anymore. And so what I say is, somebody asks me, well, what are you? You know, and you know what they're asking. I say, well, I serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I am saved by grace alone, through faith in our Messiah. And my goal is to walk as closely in his footsteps as I can. In order to do that, I read the Word every day. And I set forth to hear and do. Don't just be hearers only. We got to hear the Word and do it. So get comfy being peculiar. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. When it comes to the Bible, I have an analogy for you here today. You know I always love my little stories. My husband and I are very different people. Keeps things exciting. So Ricky's an engineer. Technically, he has been a rocket scientist. And he is a very methodical person. Everything is very organized. He does things by the book. I am, we'll just say not. I tend to be a creative. And so I have a series of 20 projects at any given time going. And what I do is I just go from one to the other. When I find myself spinning my wheels, not being productive, I move to the next one. Now, imagine, and this is a scenario that's happened many times. You get a piece of furniture, and you know furniture nowadays, it's usually like a jigsaw puzzle. When we get a piece of furniture, I will glance at the diagram, get a general feel for it, and I will start putting it together. Ricky will get the book. He will sit down, read through the entire instruction manual, and then he will set about putting it together. We have one piece of furniture in our house that, well, we don't anymore. We finally got rid of it. It was awful. We actually had to throw it away. It was supposed to be a rectangular, large supply cabinet when I was homeschooling and the kids were little. And it came in when Ricky was out of town. But I needed this cabinet, and I wanted this cabinet right then, so I decided to put it together. So, rectangular cabinet, it sat like this. Years. This is how the cabinet was. And it's because I put it together. I didn't read the instruction manual like Ricky did. I was like, I'm going to get this done. So, think about the difference in the pieces of furniture. The two different methods of putting it together. This is the exact same thing that happens when we read one or two books in the Bible and then run off deciding we're going to change everything. Oh, we're going to do this and this and this. We've got to live our faith differently. We've got to do this and this and this. You need to stay in the book. You're going to end up with a rectangular cabinet that's sitting like this your whole life. You can't afford to do that. You need to keep reading the book. I need you to understand that the Father brought you here. He knows what you need. He knows how long it's going to take you to learn it. He is teaching you in his timing, according to his will, according to his purpose. Don't feel like, oh my goodness, I didn't know all this. I have to do this immediately now. No, you don't want to have your cabinet like this your whole life. You want to have a straight, well-made cabinet to house your faith in. And so you need to read the whole book. Keep reading. And this goes for rabbit trails. This goes for, everything. Don't feel like you're behind. Don't feel that sense of panic. The Father is revealing himself, and he knows how much time you need, and he is very patient with you. He has been very patient with you. So you have to be patient both with yourself and with him. Because when he's speaking, and he's still revealing and teaching you, and you decide to run off half-cocked and try to implement something that he's not even done speaking about, that's being impatient with him. We need to trust his timing. Matt Adams said something last week that was really good. It takes longer to digest meat than it does milk. So think about that. When we spend our lives letting other people tell us what the Bible says, letting other people read it for us, having that secondhand relationship, that's milk. That's just going and sitting somewhere and letting somebody tell you what to believe and what to do. That's milk. We're on meat now. Okay, so it takes longer to digest meat. Trust in the Father's timing. Be patient with yourself. Stay in the Word. Melody, Melody, I hope you're watching this because I'm about to pronounce your name right for the first time since you've ever known me. Melody Mahala. I hope you're seeing this, Mel. Anyway, Melody Mahala posted, she had a dream, and she said that I could read this because I think it's very relevant to what we're talking about. I had a dream the other night that I was taking a walk in the woods. I came across a hole in the ground, and I could sense that it led to an underground labyrinth of dark twists and turns. I could also sense that it held some answers to questions that I'd been wrestling with. Part of me was ready to jump down that hole and explore all the nooks and crannies, ready to have all the answers to my questions. The other part of me knew that I wouldn't dare enter without the guidance of the Father. Because I know what happens when we try to find the answers on our own. Without His light, we just end up confused and in dark corners that leave us guessing. Worse, they leave us doubting and questioning Him. How could you do this? Don't you love me? Aren't you good? These are some of the things that we question Him with. And sometimes those questions lead us away from Him. So if you're in need of answers today, please don't run off ahead of Him. Searching high and low without your guide to help can get you lost. He knows the right path for you and will illuminate the way. All you have to do is stay right behind Him. I love that analogy. Don't run ahead of Him. Stay behind Him. Let Him lead you. Don't try to lead Him. And it really takes some adjustment to do that because most of us have spent our lives directing the Father. Father, I need this. Father, do this. Father, do this. I cringe when I hear prayers of people giving orders to the Father. But that's what we spend our lives doing. We treat Him like a genie in a lamp. We need a wish. Okay, now go back. I'm done. You gave me what I wanted. And then Barbara Key posted a comment to this, and she said, so true. Be ready to take the expedition, but wait for the guide. I admit I've run headlong down these trails, and He has ran after me and turned on the light anyway. Yes, I admit I have run headlong. And the Father has shown me great grace. With that in mind, I also want to issue a word of caution. And we really take this to heart. This may not be relevant to you right now, but I promise it will. Be careful running after traditions because you want a shortcut. So if you realize that the Father said do something and you've never done it before, and you look to, oh, well, this group does it. I wonder how we do that. I'm going to see what they do, and then I'm going to do exactly like they do. That may be a tradition you're running. If the Father tells us everything we need in His Word, okay? There are traditions that essentially serve as shortcuts to seeking Him and working out with Him and allowing Him to show us how to keep things that He's told us to do and how to do things He's told us to do. Traditions may be anything from, I'm trying to think of good traditions that I could mention here that won't, because not all traditions are bad, and some traditions are just a nice way of keeping a commandment, and they may not be bad, but it doesn't mean that they're a commandment. I'm not really going to be able to, well, there's certain prayers. People say, oh, what prayer do I have to do for this? What prayer do I have to do for this? Well, unless you see it in the Word, it ain't anything you have to do. So the reason why I tend to avoid traditions, and this is where I really want you to take it to heart, especially when we first started reading the whole Bible for ourselves, we started keeping, like, our first Passover. We kept Passover. We made it a point not to do all the traditional things that our beloved Jewish brethren do, which are very, they can be God-honoring, because we knew that if we did this the first time we kept Passover, that our children would think this is the way to do it. And Matthew 15:9, and there's several translations of this. I wrote out the translation that I think makes the most sense for us here. Their worship is a farce, for they teach man-made ideas as commands from God. Now, traditions are not necessarily doing this, but I understood that if I did things a certain way according to tradition, my children would take that as a command. They would think this is the way God has prescribed for us to do it. And so inadvertently, I would be teaching tradition as a command. So you won't see me do like traditional prayers and things that are outside of the Word. Because if people see me doing that, I understand that there are people looking at me in a different way, and they may think that's a commandment. So I'm very cautious of that. I'm very mindful of that. I do a lot of things in very untraditional ways. I try to just stick to the word, and then I do the best I can according to it. Realizing that we live in a different time. We live in a different area. And we can't do things perfectly. But don't ever let what you can't do keep you from doing what you can when it comes to the Father. So just be careful not to run after traditions because you're looking for a shortcut. Sometimes traditions are a comfortable and easy way for us because we just decide to follow another leader. And they can actually lead us away from following the Father. Or it could confuse those who are looking to us as an example. Relationship. It's about relationship with the Father. It's about giving Him time to lead you Himself. It's about reading His entire Word and letting Him lead you. Relationships are harder than shortcuts, but they're also stronger and they have roots. And that's what we want. So be patient. We're not even 2 books in, y'all. Don't feel like you have to run off and just change every way you do everything because you don't have all the instructions yet. You've only read the first page of the manual. Okay? And more importantly, don't be telling everybody else they need to be changing stuff either because the Father's leading everybody. We need to trust the Father. He led you, He'll lead them too. All right. I want to also talk about there's something that we're going to read coming up. And this is my example of this, about King Hezekiah. Oh, it's such a wonderful passage, and we will study it in depth when we get there. But King Hezekiah, he had got the temple set up and everything and realized that Israel had not been keeping the Passover as the Father had directed. And so he basically had his people write all these letters and deliver them to all the tribes of Israel and said, please come, let's keep the Passover, let's do it. And a lot of people mocked them, which still happens very much today. It happens today. When you seek to do what the Father says, you're going to be mocked. It's going to cut deep because it's going to come from people that you didn't expect. It's going to cut very deeply. But then some people responded with eagerness and with joy. Yes, I want to do this. I want to honor the Father. And so they came and they were so enthusiastic and so excited that they did not do it as prescribed in the Word. They did, just imagine everything wrong. But they were so excited and they wanted to do it so badly, and their heart wasn't honoring the Father. And they were there along with these Levitical priests who were trained and knew exactly how to do everything. We'll read about this coming up too. I'm jumping a little ahead. Y'all hang with me here though. And these priests knew exactly how to do everything perfectly. At no point, so here come these people bumbling everything up. But man, they're so excited, they're wanting to honor the Lord. At no point do we have regular Levitical priests saying, wait a minute, y'all don't know what you're doing. You need to stop, and I need to teach you, and you need to do like I... No. The Father saw their hearts. They saw their hearts as well. And they were honored to have them come alongside, and they were, I imagine, joyful to see all these people so wholeheartedly seeking to honor the Father. And Hezekiah prayed for them. And he said, Father, please forgive these people for not following the directions because they just love you. And let it bring further honor to you because they're here and we will teach them, The goal was we will teach them because we know when people come alongside, the Father is still teaching. He's still leading. We don't interrupt the Father. We will allow Him to complete His work in all of us, which He'll never be completed with me. Let's see. Just a second. It says, I hope I'm okay. Because it says I need to shut down some applications. Let me shut down some things here. Y'all hang in there with me. Oh my goodness, yes. I've got video editors open, graphic editors open. Christy Jordan. So that lesson, that's really a lesson for both sides of the coin here. Let's encourage our brothers and sisters. Let's not feel like we have to have everything perfect. Let's seek to honor Him. I often say that we tend to live however we want and say, oh, He knows my heart. And in those situations, that should not be a comfort because He knows your heart is in living however you want and trusting your wisdom over His and not wanting to be inconvenienced or made uncomfortable. But when we're actually seeking Him, when we're in His Word and we're really trying to learn, that's when He knows my heart. That's when the comfort comes from that. Okay? All right. I want to talk, and I'm getting there. I'm almost done, y'all. Hang in there with me. Also, about the Father's name. I spell his name in my notes, YHWH. I know by now all of y'all have read the whole article I wrote on his name. We've read our way to his name. We understand that those letters are called the Tetragrammaton. We've all read all that. So I want to say that when there are different ways of saying his name, I spent about 2 years praying and asking the Father, trying to figure out how to say his name. We do not know the exact way that it is pronounced, and I talked about that in my article too on it. And so everybody's doing the best they can. And again, this is where he knows our heart is a good thing. I never planned on saying his name in any of my videos or interactions with the group. I was just going to write it. And then that let everybody come to their own conclusion and research and decide how they wanted to say it. Well, the first day of recording the podcast, I was reading the notes and I was recording everything, and I came to his name. I was like, oh wow, I'm going to have to say it now. And I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to make anybody think there's one way, you know. So I prayed about it, and I just decided there's no way I can record all these podcasts without saying it, and so I do pronounce his name Yahweh. Some people our dear friends pronounce it Yehovah. There's several different ways of pronouncing it. Some people still prefer to call him God or Lord. Father. I call him Father most often because that's good for mixed audiences. Our Jewish brethren prefer for his name not to be spoken out loud, and that's out of reverence for it. So if I'm talking to one of our Jewish brethren, I'm going to say Elohim or the Father. The Father still works. Because we want to be sensitive to other people. We don't want to just plow over them like, well, I don't believe this is fine, you know. We want to be sensitive and know their hearts. And so many of these things are rooted in just wanting to honor the Father. And why wouldn't we honor that? So I just want you to know that some people, so I spell it YHWH. One of my admins, which Debbie, she has a couple days of notes in this year. She spells it YHVH. Totally fine. And however you say it is totally fine. Whatever you call him, as long as it's said in love, and I know it is because I know your hearts. You say it in love and reverence, it's totally fine. Please don't ever think that I'm going to be offended because I happen to know that our Father knows who we're talking about. And he speaks all languages. And so I'm not the least bit concerned about that. I just don't want y'all to feel like if you use different terms than I do, it is not an issue with me, and it is not an issue in this community. I love our diversity in here, and I think we're a really good representation of what the Father's doing in the world and how he's bringing us all together. We are very much a rainbow of believers in here as well. Another thing I want y'all to keep an eye on. In our world, and y'all watch this moving forward, we've already seen mention of it a couple times. It's mentioned several times in the Word. In our world, we are so mixed up, and the adversary has got us following after him in so many ways that we don't even realize. That our greatest focus on when it comes to signs is the mark of the beast. Everybody talks about the mark of the beast. You can find so many articles on the mark of the beast, and we've got so many believers worried about making sure they don't take on the mark of the beast that very few have even noticed that the Father has a mark too. So I want to encourage you, don't be so concerned with not having the mark of the beast. Be more concerned. Be more concerned with making sure you have the mark of the Father. And that's where our focus should be. Because if we follow that, the other one's taken care of. There are several passages about this in the Word. We need to keep reading and take notes as you go along. But the most important thing is to make sure we're found with the mark of the Father. So, that's the rest of my notes. I also want you to know that this afternoon, I'm going to try to do a Shofar tutorial. I posted a Shofar video last week introducing you to the Shofar, letting you hear what it sounds like. A lot of people were asking for help on learning to blow their Shofar. I will try to post a video this afternoon. We live in Alabama, and it's supposed to be spring now. But I asked Siri what the weather was, and I think Siri is confused about where we live because Siri said snow flurries later in the morning. So if it don't go too crazy, I'm going to go do a shofar tutorial for you. I am not a great shofar blower, but it takes time to work up the lung power and the ability to do it. And I'm just going to show you what works for me. If you ask 3 different people who blow shofars how to do it, you'll get 3 different ways. So I'm going to show you what works for me. Maybe it'll work for you. I'll try to talk about some other techniques that my friends use that are different from my own, and hopefully that'll help. Oh, Brittany, this is good. She said, traditions can also unintentionally prevent God from changing things up in your life. Yeah, we can put kind of a roadblock. Allow Him to guide your steps. Yeah, that's true. Let's see. Yes, to Lynn, she said, mocking and scoffing believers is thriving. We must not let it bother us because we love and honor our Messiah, who is also mocked and scoffed. That's really true. That's true. I'm seeing what everybody says. Oh, Lynn, thank you so much. You're so sweet. That was so sweet. And to Lynn, she pronounces it Yahuwah. And that's, this is totally fine. This is fine. Ken says Abba. Matt Adams, I've noticed, he's the one person that says something that I often say, and I don't say this much because people, even believers, are quick to offense, and so I try to avoid intentionally offending people. So, but I do tend to call God. I call the Father Papa when it's just the two of us. I'm really hurting. I'm really aching. I just want to sit. I feel like I mentally climb up in his lap and he puts his arms around me. And that's the most intimate, endearing term that I have for him. I started that when I was much younger because to me, Father, at that point in my life, felt very cold and distant. And that just wasn't a good descriptor of our relationship. So, yes, she says the Father wants us to know and use his name. Yes, but we do, some people are not comfortable using it, and it's out of reverence, and I totally understand that. Brenda says, I never knew the Father had a mark until this group. Yes, that's true. Yes, Debbie says, I say Father, Lord, and God. Christy is right. He knows we know his name. Absolutely. Absolutely. Scott says, toot that horn. Scott was with us at the week-long camping trip last year, and I'll never forget. One of my favorite memories, his wife sells Mary Kay, like big level says Mary Kay. So they got the pink car, right? And he was driving by our campsite. This pink car drives by. Window rolls down. A big shofar comes out. And this big long shofar blast comes. And it was just hilarious. It was awesome. Carol says, Siri's right. It's a very cold day today in Alabama. I have not been out yet. So, I'm cold. I'm going to shiver thinking of it. Let's see. Yes, Mary says, our Jewish brothers also use Hashem, which means the name. And that's a really, because it's the name that's elevating above all others. Oh, Rachel says, my 8-year-old son saw that I was watching you and he got excited and wanted to know if I was going to blow the shofar. Let me see. I'm going to ask if Ricky can bring my shofar to me. And if he will, I will blow it up here. If he can bring it. I don't know. He may already be on a call. He's downstairs working for this first hour. We'll see. I just asked him. Yes. Oh, I think I do have a video. I don't know. Do I have a video? I may have to look. I'll look. Yes, it was so funny. Yes, I will definitely get a video. We'll get a video next time. Because he's coming this year as well. And I will, as we get closer to that, I'll tell y'all a little more about that. And let me text Ricky again. And we will, we'll see if any of y'all are in the area, want to come. You may want to plan a trip. We've got people coming from all over the country. Pat comes in from Pennsylvania. I don't even know where everybody is, but most people are coming in. I've got some people coming up from around Orlando. People drive from all over. And let's see, Ohio, Indiana, all over. Okay, Ricky is not texting me back, so I may have to run and get it myself. Hey, Jen, I'm reading your comment just a second. Oh, Ricky said he's going to bring it. So y'all hang on. Ricky will bring it. I'll have him say hi too when he comes up here. He said he can bring it to me. Then I'll have to take my lipstick off and blow the shofar real quick. This is fun. Y'all are so precious. If you were in the group, yes, Adonai is common. Although I've heard different ways of pronouncing it. I say Adonai. I've heard other ways of pronouncing it. I think it's a regional thing, so I'm probably not pronouncing it right. When in doubt, it's probably me that's wrong in the pronunciation. Yes, Kim's coming. I can't wait. Okay, Ricky, you gonna say hi? Can you? Oh, he's okay. He's on the phone. He can't. He's on a business call. All right, let me get my shofar real quick. Just a second, y'all. Okay, just so you know, my dogs hate this. So this is the shofar. And I can't have lipstick on when I do this because I'll have lipstick all over the shofar, all over my face. Hang in there, y'all. Okay. Rachel, what's your son's name? Yeah, Donna's going to hug everybody. The longer the shofar, the easier it is to achieve more times. Absolutely. The long ones are way easier than the short ones. And I'll post a link to one of these in the video description. I got mine off Amazon. A lot of people buy when they go to Israel, but let's see, Elijah, wow, what a name. Well done, parents. What a name. All right, I'm gonna try to blow this shofar. Let's see if I can get back a little. My dogs are, yeah, y'all turn the volume down. If you've got earbuds in, take them out. Thank you, Tawny. Thank you for reminding us. I don't normally blow this inside. I'll put the mic back a little. Okay. All right, this is for Elijah. I don't know if I can, I hope I can do it well. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Wanda says, it's a great way to start the day. God's word and blowing the shofar. I agree. Scott's got to be contradictory. He said the short one's easier for him. I do not. I don't think so. It's harder for me. I gotta get the microphone out here. I don't have a lot of space. Okay, sorry. Move my mic back even more. Okay, here we go. Wait, hang in there. Sounds like a little elephant at the end. I don't sit and blow the shofar. I can only stand and blow it usually, but that was pretty good. That's for you, Elijah. I hope y'all still have hearing. Let's see. Yes. Annette says, I believe that each of us will know the right name he wants us to know him by. Yes. When our prayer call it. That's a good point. Yes. And y'all know, seek it out with the Father. It's about relationship with the Father, not a relationship with other people telling you how you should relate to the Father. The Father wants us to seek him individually, and he leads us individually because he loves us that much. Okay? He wants a personal relationship with each of us, and we should get in the habit of seeking him in all things. And let me tell you what's harder about that is when you're seeking him in all things, you have to wait on him too. Because I've never made a mistake by waiting on the Father. Anytime I've rushed ahead, pretty much always been a mistake. Oh, thank you so much. Angela says the generation chart is so awesome. I have been doing this the whole time I've been reading. Yours looks much better than mine. Oh, you are very kind. I'm not a graphic designer. Oh, Maureen. Maureen's got these little twin girls, little fur babies. One of her deaf ones stood up at the sound of the shofar. Oh, yes, I have gotten better. Thank you, Carla. Yes, my dogs hate the shofar. I will blow it better this afternoon. You get used to being in a certain position, and I'm always standing when I blow the shofar, and I think that's the first time I've ever tried to blow it sitting. It just doesn't work right for me. But, yes, Heather, this will be on YouTube later. As soon as I get done, I will download it and I'll upload it to YouTube because there are a lot of people who follow along on the Bible study on the Seeking Scripture website who are not in the Facebook group. If you are not in the Facebook group, you can go to seekingscripture.com. If you've been reading with us since the beginning, I have the links to the notes posted on the homepage. I update them every Sunday for each day of the week. If you are brand new and have not been reading with us, please begin in Genesis. Don't shortcut the Father. The Bible begins in Genesis, and so should we. And if you're seeking to read the whole Word, it's time to put shortcuts aside. There's no such thing as a second-hand relationship with the Father or His Word, and we want all of Him. We want every ounce of His wisdom. We don't want to let a single drop pass us by. So begin in the beginning. I hope that helps. All right, so I'm going to let y'all go. Thank you so much. I hope everybody still has their hearing intact from that. And the sun's coming out from the curtain just a bit behind me. I'm going to let Ricky have the office back. And we're hoping we can get me we've got to completely clean out a room, paint the walls, everything. And we're hoping to have it done by Sunday evening. So I'm going to be seeking the Father's help on that for sure. Y'all have a good one, and you can watch this on the replay later. Love y'all, and it is an honor to study our Father's Word with you. May we bring further honor and glory to our King in all we say and do. Bye-bye.